And he's in punishment. However, he says what? Do not establish the hour. Why? Because he knows what awaits him is much, much, much more graver than that which he is currently in. This is the soul of a disbeliever. Last week we heard the soul of the believer. Isn't there a huge comparison? But what about those who die as major sinners? The believers who die as a major sinner without repenting. Muhammad ibn Ismail al-Bukhari in his collection mentions to us a beautiful narration on the authority of Samara ibn Jundub that Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam will often inquire from his companions, did any one of you see a dream last night? So they will narrate to him what dreams that they saw. One day he approached them and said, I will tell you a dream I saw last night. He said, 2 men came to me last night in my dream. And we know that the dreams of the prophets are truthful because shaitan cannot approach them even while they're in their sleep. He said, 2 men came to me in my dream last night and said, come with us. A truthful dream. So I went with them until we came to a sacred land. We came upon a man lying on his back on the ground with another man standing over him with a boulder, a huge rock in his hand. The man would throw that rock over that man's head and cause it to split open. So the rock will roll away and the man standing who threw it will go to retrieve it. When he came back, he found the man's head restored as it was before. And again he will throw it at him and throw it and throw it. May Allah be exalted, said Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Who are these 2? They said, come on, come on. We proceeded until we came upon a man sitting and another man standing over him with an iron hook in his hand. He would approach the man sitting, go to the side of his face, place the hook in the corner of his mouth and rip it to the back of his head. Ripping his nose as well, the side of his nose and the eye, all back to his head. And then he'll go to the other side. He'll place it in that corner of the mouth. He'll rip then that side to the back of his head. And then he will go back to his original place where he started from, and by then it would have been restored as it was before. And he will do the same thing as he did the first time. He said, may Allah be exalted. Who are these 2? They said, come on, come on. We proceeded until we came to a hole that resembled a bacon pit. Narrow on top and wide on the bottom. We heard cries, screams, shouts coming from this hole. So we went and saw what is in this hole. We looked inside and saw naked men and women. Beneath them was a raging fire. Whenever the fire flared, the people screamed and rose with the fire, almost falling out of the pit. And when it subsided, they went back to the bottom of the pit. I said, may Allah be exalted. Muhammad, who are these people? They said, come on, come on. We proceeded until we came to a river of blood. A river of blood. In the middle of that river, there was a man swimming. Well, on the bank of the river, there was another man who had piled around him, gathered around him, many rocks. The man would swim for a while, and then he would approach the man on the bank, trying to exit the river. He opens his mouth. The man on the bank throws in his mouth a rock, forcing him back to his original position, the center of the river. Again it happens, the same thing. May Allah be exalted. Who are these 2? Come on, come on. We proceeded until we came to a garden, dense with plantation, with all sorts of spring flowers, and a very large tree in its center. Near the stem of the tree, there was a large, tall man, so tall that I could barely see his head in the sky. Around him, there was the greatest number of children I have ever seen. I said, who are they? They said, come on, come on. Near the tree, there was another man who was the most ugliest, hateful man I have ever seen in appearance. Before him was a fire, which he himself was kindling and trotting around, running around it. I said, who is this man? They said, come on, come on. The tree, he says, was the most beautiful tree I have ever seen. They instructed me, climb it. So we ascended the tree until we came to a beautiful town. A town like I have never seen before. We came to the gate of this town and requested admission. The gate was opened. We were met by old and young men with one side of their faces the most ugliest to behold, while the other side the most beautiful to behold. My two companions said to these men, go plunge, go dive in the river. A river was flowing by, whose water was milk white in color. So they did. These men, with one side ugly, the other side beautiful, they plunged, they dived in the river, they came back to Muhammad and his two companions, and they were the most beautiful, handsome to be. Their ugliness disappeared. We proceeded, he said, until we came to a better and more beautiful town. And then I said to them, Muhammad, from the beginning of the night, we have seen many places, many amazing things. What is all of this? They said, now we shall tell you. As for the man that was lying on the ground, with his head being smashed repeatedly, he is the man that Allah taught the Quran. Listen, brothers and sisters, these are the major sinners from amongst the Muslims. He was a man who Allah taught the Quran. However, he slept and neglected it during the night. He did not implement it during the day. He abandoned the Quran and slept through his prescribed prayers. How many of us today read the Quran? Memorize the Quran. Some of us memorized all the Quran. But he lives a life just like a kafir. Does not even know what the Quran mentions. He reads a verse, does not implement. He reads a verse, does not understand. As for the man whose nose, whose mouth and eyes were being ripped to the back of his head, he is the one who is a liar. He would leave his house in the morning spreading lies which circulated far and wide in all directions. Lying, brothers and sisters, is not an attribute of a Muslim. It is hypocrisy, a sign of hypocrisy, yarhamakallah. As Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said to us in a narration collected by Bukhari and Muslim, that the signs of a hypocrite is three. Even if he prays and fasts and claims to be a Muslim, when he speaks he lies, when he promises he breaks his promise, when he is entrusted with something he betrays that trust. Abdullah ibn Mas'ud further emphasized the ugliness of this sin. He said a person continues to lie, and elaborate on these lies. You know, you get people that start lying, and the lie that they made, they elaborate on it. They increase it. The lie could be he's wearing a red hat. Oh, and then he's wearing a blue suit. And then he's wearing this. It's elaborated on this lie. He says, this person, a black spot appears on his heart. And it expands and expands and expands until it blackens, it darkens the whole heart. We are not liars, brothers and sisters. Muslims do not lie. Muslims guard their tongue. They purify their tongue, speaking only that which Allah loves. We are not hypocrites. We are not disbelievers. They are the liars, not us. Whoever believes in Allah and the last day should speak good or remain silent. You only speak when you need to speak. Silence is peace. Silence is integrity. You get many people today that in the sittings and gatherings, they want to be the leader of the pack. They want to speak and let no one else speak.